Okay, so I decided to come back here and make another video, mainly out of boredom. Hang on a second, let me turn this off, pause it. I got some light music going on in the background, and I don't want it to obstruct my voice, so I don't really know. When I use my computer for music, I don't want you to hear the music. Instead, you need to hear my voice. So anyway, I'm making this video. This afternoon, I decided to just kind of work on videos and just kind of talk my issues out. And, I think when it comes to work issues, people have a hard time understanding what is personal and what is business related. And this is very frustrating, okay? Because I understand, sometimes, you might have family members or you might have friends who want to arrange your job, and they think a lot of issues are relevant. And in fact, they're not relevant. They're actually issues that could result in discrimination issues. And then when I think about, how this was thrown out in the public, to me, that's one of the reasons why this should have been a lawsuit. This should have been a huge lawsuit, mainly because it's a violation of my privacy. And then it also results in discrimination, bullying, sexual harassment, so on and so forth. And what people don't realize is that this is a sexual harassment issue, on top of being a human trafficking issue. The discrimination is wrong. I had mentioned one time I had worked for a man who mentioned that he got in trouble one time, or he had an issue with a previous employee of his, who I didn't know, but he was just telling me the story, that he was accused of sexual harassment. He swears up and down that he did not sexually harass a person, but in fact, these sort of issues are so common that people don't recognize them for what they are. So there's a good chance he did. Just like everybody who got involved in this doesn't see anything wrong with, setting up job interviews just to play with a person, or, insisting that a person, like, for example, if you wear a dress to work or you wear heels to work one day, and then somebody makes a big issue out of it and constantly says you're dressing up because you're trying to get a man, and then everybody chimes in or whatever and starts poking fun of that person. And it can escalate into going on the next day after, and then you go to another job and the same thing continues to follow. People think that these things are funny, but this is indeed sexual harassment, especially if you're having a hard time getting a job because of it. No one has the right to tell you how you're supposed to look. Now, obviously, there's a professional way of presenting yourself while you're at work, when you're going for job interviews, whatever, a professional appearance that you're supposed to have when you go to work. And then oftentimes, you might deal with some people, such as the people who got involved in this. They might pick you apart. Like in this case, I think my family, my ex-family, looks at me different, like, I'm doing something wrong, when in fact I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong at all. And then they try to tell you how you're supposed to look, what you're supposed to look like. I understand what you're supposed to look like at a job interview. I fully understand that, okay? But when you start picking apart a person's appearance to the point of where they did, then that becomes a sexual harassment issue. I present myself well in front of all my employers. I wear professional attire. I make sure my hair is done well. I don't wear lipstick or anything fancy. I just go in for the job interview. And I feel as though being picked apart based on my appearance, especially if, number one, it was meant for, because they wanted to keep me in a marriage that I didn't want to be in, that literally traumatized me, or they just personally feel that they might be competitive or jealous or whatever. These issues are still sexual harassment. And women do get involved with the other sexual harassment towards other women when they participate in stuff like this, like, the teasing, the whatever. To demand that a person changes their physical appearance in order to get a job is discrimination. And it's, it's harassment. It's like you basically are saying, go disfigure yourself or do whatever, and then we'll help you out get a job. When I didn't ask to help you, you helped me in the first place. I don't, it's a threat to your life, because this is my life. Like, I know they picked on my arts and crafts. They picked on, me eating apples at work, but this is who I am. And so, sometimes people think, well, Maria's not fitting in. The reason why Maria doesn't fit in is, number one, Maria's a woman of color. Okay, that's one thing, okay? But the real reason why Maria doesn't fit in is because you guys come in with your teasing. All of this is your doing, not mine. I will also say that as far as, like, of course, there's been rumors about me seeing somebody and blah, 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 blah. No, obviously I'm not seeing anybody. And the guy from high school, I haven't communicated with him in a long time. And trust me, I'm not pining away from my ex-husband. Okay, that's another person that I prefer to phase out of my memory. Now, although that situation was extremely traumatizing, I felt as though my issues with my previous family, blood relations, was a little bit more traumatizing than the issue with my ex-husband. Why? Because my ex-family, I instinctively trusted them, and just because, I'm extremely intuitive doesn't mean that I know what other people are doing all the time. Like I said, when people are intuitive, they want to feel comfortable in their environment. They want to trust people. Okay, so you don't want to constantly think or tap in or focus on their intentions. You want to believe that this is your family who accepts you and loves you how you are. You don't think that, even though now looking back, there were obvious signs that there was some sort of competition going on with them on their side. I never realized that. So, I never thought, are these people plotting against me? Are they doing things behind my... I just didn't think about those sort of things, But I will say, this issue should have never, ever been thrown out in the public. And I know that I'm not the only person who people try to match make with. There's a lot of women who are single, who are targeted individuals, where people feel like, well, this one girl, I forgot her name, but I watch her videos and I'm a subscriber on her channel. She was basically saying that her previous employers or the people at work were like, so we need to help her get a man, or she needs to get a man. That's no one's business. Do you understand? That's no one's business. If I wanted to get it's not difficult for people in my age group who are looking for relationships to get in one. Okay, because there's lonely people out there. They may not want to get married and have children and all that, but if they want to get attached to somebody, there's a lot of lonely people out there that really want that sort of thing. And then there's people such as myself who really don't have a whole lot of interest in those sort of things. And I don't. People think, well, you're just repressing your issues. You're just saying that. There is no shame in a person who truly wants a relationship to say, you know what, I think I need to start looking for someone. There is no shame in that if that's what they want to do. Because there's people in this world, there's plenty of people in the world who get partnered every single day. And that's their choice. They want to do that, right? And it's not something that people should look at, or they should raise their eyebrow at, or it's normal behavior, okay? But there's some people, such as myself, right, who prefer to be single. I prefer to be single, okay? And I prefer not to entangle myself in relationships, mainly because we can see the behavior of a lot of people, okay? Like, just this issue alone. This issue proves so many points. Like I mentioned in one of my videos, at least 2 of my videos, about the issues that are proven in this situation. Certain topics that people want to ignore is proven just by this issue alone, okay? But when it comes to relationships, a lot of people get into relationships for the wrong reasons, okay? And some people get married, like I talked about. Some people get married and it's a business relationship. Those relationships I would never walk into on purpose, okay? But they look at it that way, and they look at this person as a commodity or something. Okay, that doesn't appeal to me. You know, I think that if people get married, they should get married because they enjoy that person's company. This person enhances their life. Maybe they brighten their day. They do whatever, and there's love between these two people. Now, the kind of does love last forever? I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't know. So, and also, you know, there's issues relating to me and certain traumas that I experienced growing up that I really don't have those desires to be intimate with somebody. Okay, and if that's it's traumatizing when people are constantly forcing this issue onto somebody that already experienced something traumatic in their life, and then the people constantly want to bring it up. And they like to confuse these issues. Like, you know, I have a family, an ex-family, who doesn't necessarily groom. Okay, they're not groomers, okay? And there's nothing wrong with women who don't care about those things, okay? I see women who don't care about those things all the time, you know? And there's a lot of women that I admire who are like that. Like, there's this one lady I know, she works on cars. No, she's not a lesbian. She's just one of these handy women who've got all these, like, incredible masculine, what people would associate with masculine skills, but she's still a woman, okay? And I admire that. You know what I mean? Does she get dressed up? She doesn't really do anything with her hair. Her hair is always in this little floppy ponytail. She wears jeans and sandals all the time. She doesn't get dressed up. She's never worn nails or anything like that. And for that person, that's good for her. That's who she is. Okay? And then there's some women who like, you know, the girly things. They like being a woman. They wear dresses. They wear pants. I don't really wear a lot of dresses, mind you, but they wear pants. They accessorize, and that's what they do. There's a mixed bag of women in this world, okay? But just because a woman likes like fashion or whatever doesn't mean that it has anything to do with men. I like color. You know, that's one of the reasons why I got involved with my art projects. And that's another thing. When you're dealing with gang stalking, like they think, well, if you like art, then that's what you'd be doing for a living. I'm not that kind of artist. Okay, I'm not the kind of artist that, you know, I do it as a hobby, but I've talked about this before. But still, it's about somebody trying to morph and change you into something that's impossible for you to function as a person when that's not you. You know, the reason why I have failed to make good business partners is a result of the intrusion of my previous family. Like, if I would have moved into this town, right, if they didn't exist, okay, or they just, the people that kind of minded their own business, sure, I would have been a black woman, okay, but I see plenty of black women who are working, doing just fine. I've seen the girly kinds. I've seen the women who were more, you know, just get up in the morning and get together, put their jeans on and get on with it. I've seen those kind of women too. I've seen the mixed bag of black women who have jobs in this community. Okay, I took the bus ride just about a month ago. There was a black lady who was driving the bus, and she was, you know, I considered her to be a little bit overly glammed, really, but, you know, but still, that's proof she has a job. You see what I'm saying? So you have these issues, and to point me out constantly it is sexual harassment. It's wrong. Okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. And it bothers me that, you know, somebody would be so foolish to say, well, you know, the reason why I got mobbed out of the jobs is because of them. So they think, well, she's getting bullied at work. The reason why she's getting bullied at work is because, you know, of her. The reason why I'm getting bullied at work is because you are inciting the mobbing. Okay? I will tell you, that lady bus driver that I had encountered, you know, she seemed to you know, people have their little ways about them. They might talk about her behind her back or whatever. Who knows, okay? But when she was interacting with people, I didn't see any of the backstabbing. I didn't see any of that. You see what I'm saying? So you have these people that come in and create these issues, you know, and when you're dealing with business partners, which a lot of targeted individuals have business partners, okay? They don't know they're business partners, but they are. They're the people who arrange your jobs and stuff like that. And you get a lot of people who dehumanize you to the point of where they feel as though you're not a person. They don't see you as a person. So they think that they want to take away your rights. They want to force their religion on you. They want you to behave like them. They want you to give up your hobbies. Also, you can have a job that you're really not going to like. You know, and they don't think about this stuff because they don't see you as a person. You know, and what this issue showed me was that, you know, number one, I come from an abusive family, okay? And I can go on with stories from year after year after year after year after year about abuse, okay? But this is not the issue. The issue is that this proves, like so many issues relating to religion, race, marital status, gender, blah, 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 who actually has authority in this world, you know what I mean, and the abuse that that actually does take place, you know, in the work environment, in the work area, or work arena, whatever you want to call it. And you can't deny this, because if you honestly think another person has rights over another person, and you fell for that, you know, you thought that that was something legit, that also just uncovers the ignorance that people have. You know, like, if people really think this, you know, and I talked about the issue relating to education, how this doesn't necessarily prove that people are qualified for their job, that people don't recognize human trafficking when they see it. You know, even organizations that claim to be assisting people who are victims of human trafficking don't recognize it. So there's a lot of incompetent people out there, you know. So I think the reason why I just made this video is, number one, I'm extremely bored, okay? Like, I just separated laundry. There's not a lot for me to do. I had a really weird dream last night, and, you know, there's a lot of things that are processing my brain, and I've dealt with so much injustice. I have the right to live my life, you know? And at almost 50 years old, I get upset because I feel as though I shouldn't even have to be making statements like this. Like, you know, my family knew good and well, they knew what the rule was. 18 years old, you're out the door, you do what you want to do. So when you come and you encounter stuff like this, okay, like, everything that blew up in this community is a result of outside intrusion. This whole issue on Facebook that started in 2008, like I said, like, you know, I'm a nobody, a no name, okay? So I'm going to open up a Facebook account and then all these people are going to know me instantly? No. This got started because there was a person who saw my Facebook account, okay, probably my ex-family, saw my Facebook, shared it with other people, it spread all over the place. And I have also noticed something on Facebook. I've seen this at least three times, okay, where there was a person on Facebook and they sent out a message on a few of these posts about just any particular person who might do something that another person disagrees with, okay? That could be anything. It could be somebody who got in an argument or whatever, and they'll say, ignore this person, blah, 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 and they'll show this person's face in the post. And I'm like, do these people realize what they're doing? You are putting a person in a program, in, like, something that's very similar to gang stalking or whatever. And what you do on Facebook and what you say about a person can create enormous complications for them. Now, going back to 2008, I don't remember, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is I contacted the guy that I used to have a crush on in high school. And then all weird shit started going on in my workplace. I never communicated with the person after that. Then it happened over at the farmer's place, blah, 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 blah. See, I have my family members, okay, ex-family. I'm not going to adhere to your religion. I'm sorry, I'm not going to, because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to give up my arts and crafts. I'm not going to stop, you know, accessorizing to make you happy. Now, I understand in the workplace, there's certain things that you have to do. Like, for example, I'm wearing a headband today because my hair is a mess, right? And it's holding it back. I wouldn't wear this to work. I wouldn't, okay? I got holes in my jeans. I wouldn't wear them to work. You know what I mean? I know the difference between the two. My personal life and my life at work should always remain separate. And that's just how it is. You know what I mean? If I met a friend at work, which I doubt I ever would, but who knows? But I'm just saying is because I'm always afraid of their intrusion. But if I was to meet a friend at work and we became close and we start talking, then, you know, you would invite that person over for food or whatever, and they'd get to know you as a person a little bit closer, you see. But to throw my personal life out, or to think that I'm going to assimilate better if I give up my arts and crafts, or if I stop sewing or whatever. No. Your vibe attracts your tribe. I don't know if you've ever heard of that expression before, but this is the sort of stuff I like to do. So this vibe should be sent out to the people who connect with that. There's people in my age group who might like this stuff themselves, and those are the people that you choose to associate with as a true friend. There's a difference between acquaintances, and there's a difference between friends, right? We know, I mean, you should know the difference, and there is. Just like, you know, the people in my neighborhood, I don't have anything against them. I don't really get a chance to interact with them very much, especially now since it's hot, okay? But, you know, I don't consider myself on bad terms with them. I never really had a chance to talk to them, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, there are people that I would be friendly to, I would be polite to, if I saw them, if I was in a position to help them, like, for example, somebody had a flat tire or whatever, they needed a ride or something, then I would accommodate them. There's no reason why I shouldn't, okay? But there are certain people that you want to share your secrets with, your goals with, your whatever those things are, okay? There's a difference between who you, and maybe there's somebody in this neighborhood who's worthy of knowing that, okay? And maybe there's someone who's not. They're not. You know what I mean? Only time can tell, right? But there's a difference between the two. Between an acquaintance and a friend, okay? And a lot of true friends are really hard to find. I remember, you know, my dad used to say, you don't have any friends in this world. Because my dad probably got ran over by people that he thought was his friend multiple times. You know what I mean? Many times, okay? I have found out that, you know, the people that I used to know on Facebook, in order for them to participate, again, into this gang stalking thing, in order for them to shun me the way that they did, they weren't my friends. If they saw my face on Facebook and hated me instantly and wanted to jump on the bandwagon of bullying, they weren't my friends. Okay? And they want me to bend over and cater to these people, to them, and be a miserable person so what they can be satisfied because they accomplished their goal of bullying me. They're not my friends. And those are heartbreaking things when you first realize that, okay? Like, you know, you always trust people. You wish them well. They didn't give two shits about what happened to you. They don't care about your goals. They don't care about your whatever. They only care about bullying you. You know? And no, I never wanted that. You know? I never wanted, like... As a matter of fact, when I left Antelope Valley, I really wanted to have a very low-key lifestyle. Like, I never wanted people to know me like that. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be a kind of person that, you know, worked during the day, came home, took care of my stuff at night. I might go out shopping. I might go to like the park on the weekends. Do your whatever, your business. But I never wanted people to know me. I wanted to have a very private life. And then here comes these people with their bullying. And my ex-family is very ignorant. They don't know the difference between words. They don't think about the consequences to their actions. You know what I mean? They think the bullying from the playground has to come into adult life, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I mean, it should, you know, and they were wrong to do this. They were wrong to do this. You know, my bullying is a result of their work. All the mobbings that occurred resulted from them. And I'm tired of paying the price for it. You know? I don't see the point. See, now, if I was to change my lifestyle, which my personal life, that really, there's not much that goes on in my personal life. I get up in the morning and I make up my bed. I get dressed, get something to eat. You know, I don't really have much to my personal life. Some people might look at my life and say this is really boring. Okay, I would say right now it is, because it's like the same thing every day. But if I was working, it would be pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? I would hope one day that I'd find like a really close friend, and I would share my hopes, dreams, and plans and goals with that person, right? But I don't know my ex-family or the people who got involved in this. And I hate to say it, but this is your fault. It's your fault, not mine. You know, my life is personal. I prefer to keep my personal life to myself, you know. And if I was dating, which I'm not, obviously, everybody who sees me in town knows that they see me by myself. When I go, you know, outside, I'm by myself. They see me driving my car, I'm in by myself. Either that or I'm with my son. Okay, they don't really have anyone that they associate with me. They can't say that, oh, you know, she's hanging out with this person. I don't hang out with people. I don't, you know. And once I realized I was being gang stalked, I cut off ties with everyone. There were a few people who called me during my gang stalking, and I realized that they were a part of this program. I didn't even pick up the phone. I figured we're done. Because anybody who's going to abuse me, or I suspect that you're abusing me, we can no longer be friends. Because you're just a spy for these people who are abusing me or whatever. It's in my best interest to sever ties with them. You know, this was a deliberate attempt to ruin my life. And that's what it was. And this is what gang stalking is in the first place. You know what I mean? When issues go wrong at work, people have the right to speak out about them. Like when I left the farmer's place, I had the right to speak out about it, but I didn't. I signed a contract saying, you know, I'm going to keep this issue private. I'm going to go on to another job, which I did, okay. But guess what? They were there and they created problems. But that I kept quiet about it for a long time. So I left in 2013. And then finally in 2015, I started to like put certain things together, and I needed to talk about it. So September of 2015, I started putting out videos, okay? And little by little, I started to remember more things. More things kept coming to mind. Things started surfacing, and I started putting it all together. And it took me a very, very long time. And it was a very heartbreaking period for me, you know. And to this day, obviously, if I'm dealing with waking up in the middle of the night, having trauma issues or whatever, it's a serious issue. It is a serious issue. Harassment at work shouldn't be taken lightly. Now we see all these managers that are going to this training, right? They're hearing all this stuff, and then they're calling me in for job interviews to sexually harass me. See, in one ear and out the other. Do they take their job seriously? No. Here's a person who takes their job seriously, and I struggle to find a job. What does that prove? A white man claims to have authority over a black woman, and people believe it. What does that prove? You contact a company or an organization that's supposed to represent human trafficking, and they prefer to listen to the person who thinks they have authority over another human being over the age of 18 in the United States of America. What does that prove? What does it prove that all these people with their, you know, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and whatever are participating in human trafficking? It proves a lot, really. You know, some of the current events that are going on right now were things that I were talking about already. I'm not bringing up race because I'm not a racist at all. Okay, Obviously, I was married to a white man. You know, I'm not a racist, but I will tell you there's obviously something we can't deny that goes on. You know, and like, well, I want to kind of briefly touch on this issue. I don't really know what's going on that issue. I'm talking about the George Floyd issue. There's two ways that I've been looking at this, because I don't really believe anything I see on the media anymore. It might be true, it might not be. You know, there's speculation that, and if it is true, if this really did happen, then that's another confirmation of my point. If he is indeed a crisis actor, which some people have suspected that he is, I will tell you that just because you're black doesn't mean that people of your own race will not walk over you. Okay? I believe every person in this world is equally evil. Now, my family, my blood relations are as black as I am. Okay? They had no problem walking all over me, bullying me to the point of where I am now. So where's the black unity? No, I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Is that if people feel like if they're going to gain some sort of advantage over hurting another person, your race doesn't matter. Okay? I personally believe that everybody on this earth has been like brainwashed or accepted evil behavior as normal. And that's just how I see it. So it's stupid for me to think that, you know, just because a person's the same color as me, that I'm going to have trust for them. You know what I mean? I don't trust people equally. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's one lesson I've learned. Okay? But does racism exist? Yeah, it does. It does exist. To act like it doesn't, you're in denial. You know? So there's a lot of things that go on in this world that are quite obvious and quite apparent and it really shouldn't be denied, and it can't be denied. You know? And this is one of them. You know? It's like, I don't even think most Americans understand their rights in this country. You know what I mean? Did you not know that you cannot enforce religion in the workplace? Not legally. Does it seem logical that somebody has the right to tell somebody to spy on somebody and hold off giving her a job if she doesn't cooperate, stop doing her crafts and making things and whatever? None of that makes any sense. And no, I'm not too old for that sort of thing. There's people who do this all the time. There's people who draw cartoons. There's people who do all kinds of stuff who are far older than I am. You know what I mean? For a living. This is what some people do for a living. As well as doing for a hobby. You know what I mean? You attract the sort of people in your life that you want to mesh well with. You know, I would think that I get along with everyone. I don't cause problems. You know what I mean? But as far as who I'm going to call my buddy, my friend, my bosom buddy, whatever you want to call it, I would think that their hobbies should be somewhat similar to mine. Their outlook doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but in order to be close, it seems like they would have to be understanding where I stand in life and vice versa. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have a problem being the friend of a person who has a different religious view of me or whatever. But there are some people who aren't tolerant of that sort of thing. And I think in this situation, that kind of proves it. Like, you know, the whole religion thing, I'm sorry. That's just not my path. You know? It's not my path. You know, it's like it was made up on the fly. Okay, because like I said, we weren't religious growing up. You can't involve different denominations and then expect me to adhere to what religious principle. Especially, you know, these people claim to not like Catholics, but there were Catholics involved in it. There were Mormons involved in it. We had all these different people. So it was just a form of propaganda. You know, I don't know what it is, but I'm over the age of 18. So what I'd like to say to the people who got involved in this, look, we're not the same. And, you know, it's unfortunate that you did what you did. Okay. But I would prefer to sever ties, if at all possible, because I don't like what you've done. I can't forgive it. I find this is the sort of behavior that is classified as terrorism. You're a terrorist. Under those guidelines, by the classification of the law, you are a terrorist. To do this to another person, okay, I'm going to ask that you cease and desist and leave me alone and don't bother me anymore. You know, if you are just have to arrange my job, then let me work in peace. You know what I mean? I don't want this. You know, I've dealt with 23 years. That's just 23 years of working life, okay? I've actually dealt with it longer. It goes back in the school days. But I've dealt with this long enough. You know what I mean? These are my last years. And I want them without you. I want to work in an environment where I can go to my job, do my job, and come home. I don't want to sit here like in the fetal position on the weekends wondering, am I going to get bullied again? The reason why I get bullied is because of you. It's your fault. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And so I'm going to go on about my business today. I made a 36-minute video. I still got things I got to do when my son gets home, and it's mostly housework, you know, and I get really tired of, those itches. I get tired of like having to go through this over and over and over again because I feel as though it's illogical. It was irresponsible. It was abusive. And it was done to hurt me. And I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve to be treated that way. You know? I know I did silly things when I was younger, and I think everybody is guilty of that. But I think these people judge me based on what I did when I was younger. Like I had a child out of wedlock, okay? I'm sure God has forgiven me over that. But they think, well, because you have a child out of wedlock, then this means that you accept this sort of lifestyle. Those are two different things. Just because a person had a child out of wedlock doesn't mean they believe in an immoral lifestyle. They simply made a mistake in their life. And quite frankly, I don't believe that my son was a mistake. I don't. He was a blessing to me. You know? Sometimes, like I said, order comes out of chaos. But, and I think that because they think that, you know, if you do these things, then this means you find this acceptable. It's not acceptable. I don't believe in incest. I don't believe in any of that sort of stuff. You know, just because one person did something doesn't mean that they accept all these other different things. Or that other people should, you know, or that, you know, you believe that people should be promiscuous or whatever. You know, I think that, you know, I know when my son was younger, I know I did date a few people. I never had very many boyfriends. I would say most women my age can say that they've had far more boyfriends than I have ever had in my life. And that's the truth, okay? There are people who are 15 years old who probably had more boyfriends and relationships than I've had. That's the truth, okay? But, you know, I think when I had, once I had my child, you know, I kept thinking, well, maybe, because see, I was still thinking, okay, well, maybe marriage, I should get married. So, you know, you keep thinking, well, maybe I'll try again, and maybe this person will be the person that I'm going to get along with. And then you meet these people and you're like, no, I don't see any shame in that. Because, you know, you think, okay, well, this didn't work out. Maybe I'll go ahead and give this a try. It makes sense, okay? But just because you try to date other people after you've had a child out of wedlock, that doesn't mean anything. It means you're trying to maybe find the right person. And then maybe you will get married and then have a family and whatever. Okay, but I think my ex-family just felt as though I should just put my head in the sand or kill over and die, and that's what I should have done. You know, that's not an indication that I was boy crazy. I just figured, okay, well, let's see. Maybe I can get married and have, you know, a family. And it didn't work out. My eyes started seeing certain things, and it just didn't work out. Now, I did get married. I did end up getting married. It was a horrible marriage, okay? It was a horrible marriage, but I understand that. You know what I mean? It's just not for me. you know? And I don't appreciate people making up stories, or that I'm seeing somebody, or that, you know, if I wear a dress or something, which is rare, but if I do wear a dress or a skirt, that means that she must be seeing. So I don't like people picking apart my actions. You know, I have a right to my own private life, and I have a right to my own choices. And it's like, you're bullying, and that's exactly what it is. It's bullying. Okay? Anybody who would do this and think it's funny and then spread it around and get other people involved in it. Oh, she can't have a job because blah, 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 blah. It's bullying. Okay? In fact, it's genocide. So how in the world can you expect me to forgive you? I can't. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope all of you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.